Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Big Rob's Little Podcast, and today I have the pleasure of having my special guest all the way from Alberta. Joining me on this podcast, Doug Francis, UBW Original
Whoa,
Horror.
whoa, 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 whoa. Rob, that was a good intro, but let's not insult their intelligence. I am the real Canadian Wrestling's official. I am a record time holder for the UBW Championship. I'm the longest UBW Championship holder. I am the god to the wrestling business, the fallen prophet, Ashes, other known as Dougie. But yeah, how's it going?
Not bad. My apologies, and welcome.
I mean, let's not insult their intelligence. Let's not insult my intelligence. Let's not insult anyone's intelligence. We know who's a god here. We know who asked who to be on whose show. And I don't want to insult you in anything, but I mean, I'm not just one of those guys, Rob. And I think that you know that now.
I understand that now. Yes, I'm grateful to have you on my podcast, and
Absolutely.
so let's actually get right into this. And my first question for you is, what is your opinion on the pro wrestling business?
Well, before we answer any questions, Rob, I need to start this show off right. I've had my morning coffee. Now it's time for my morning supplements. Now, my opinion on the wrestling business is very simple. People aren't doing their justice to keep the business alive anymore. And if you think about it, the business is already dead with social media and WWE putting out their own medias of backstage content, which is literally showing people in the wrestling business with specified characters acting not as their characters. Now, if you watched any of Jimmy Cornette's footage or any old-time wrestling footage, people wouldn't ride in the same car. I mean, the Wild Samoans getting pulled over with Hulk Hogan. They ate a salmon to keep the business alive in front of a police officer. And people aren't doing their justice. See, men like Sami Callihan, after what he did to Eddie Edwards, and after him talking about it, I agree with Sami Callihan. Accidents happen. Get over it. And he did exactly what he should have, kept the business alive.
Fair enough. So you mentioned UBW in your little intro.
Absolutely.
I wanna know how that all started.
Well, it started with two men. Well, if you want to get into the logistics of it, it started with four men in a junior high drama room. And through mine and Malik's love of wrestling, we decided to start filming this because we had ideas of the business and we had a passion for this business. Like anybody in the wrestling business, anybody who's been in the ring, even some fans, it's a drug that you can't overdose from. And wrestling, we wanted to suck up every ounce of it. So we would watch stuff, we would try stuff, we would find different spots, little things here and there, and we got a cameraman, and then one cameraman turned into two, and then one YouTube video turned into two, and then the editing program turned, and then so on and so on and so on. And now it's grown to a thing where, a year ago, if you would have asked me what is UBW, I would have said it's a thing that me and a couple buddies did. But now that people have, like you, Rob, that have messaged us and had said that you've watched our content, that have seen our content, and that like our content, it's making me believe that there's still a small fire within it. And if we can bring that fire to a boiling point and then we can extinguish it, it will be one of the best things on YouTube that is not professionally made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And now, last week Malik asked me to share this video. Last week we didn't get a chance to see the full thing because it was cut off, and you asked me
because Malik, as the tech wizard that he is, the man is only good with editing programs. The man isn't good with live shows. That's where you take over, Rob. So please, Rob, if you will, show this video of our creations.
Well, I will. Let's get underway there.
Everyone, let us view.
All right.
beer's tasting good. Ah.
What you want? What you want?
G and G, good news. Introducing first. Come at the winner of this match.
Hey, that's me.
And the official for this match. And the winner, Robbie. Untouchable backyard wrestling. Here we go. And the winner by submission. UBW. What you want? And the winner by disqualification.
What you want?
And his opponent.
What you want?
Woo! Hey man, that video was all right.
I think so too. I'm gonna have to agree. We'll get back to this podcast now, and I will quit using my headset from now until the end of the podcast, just because you can hear me quite fine still.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, now that we shared that video, we can move on to your time in the indie scene.
Well, my indie scene, it started. Geez, I want to say I'm going on a little under or a little on 5 years now. It started with me and Malik again talking about the wrestling business. After a season of UBW, we thought let's go in the ring with this. Let's actually try and do this, because we do have minds that are capable enough of creating and making wrestling content for the masses. And we looked through everywhere to find training camps and such. And he sent me a Kijiji post from Real Canadian Wrestling. And that is where it all started. I went to Glengarry Hall here in Edmonton, Alberta, and there was a ring set up. I met the promoter, Steven Stiles. I met Andrew Hawks, who trained me. Through there, I met amazing talents. And even today, I meet amazing talents that come from basically all over the world, which is cool.
Can you name some people that you've met, actually?
Absolutely. Local indie talent, Slammer. He's a great friend of mine. Cameron Toms, Kamikaze, he helped train me. Zach Mercury, he's helped a lot. Jesse Youngblood, Heavy Metal, those are just local talents. If you want to look, to the bigger scale of things, I've worked with Tommy Dreamer, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Gangrel. There's been a lot to name, and forgive me if they've slipped my mind, but there's been a lot, and I'm so fortunate every month to step between the ropes, have some people chant my name, and just be thankful just to do something that I love, which is not only reffing, but having a mind in the business that will soon come to fruition and bloom and spore like a beautiful mushroom that it is.
Yeah, and also you have a show coming up this week. D'Lo Brown's going to be on the card.
Yes, Real Canadian Wrestling, back at the Evansdale Community Hall. I don't have the address, but this Friday or Saturday, I think it's the Friday, D'Lo Brown is coming in, which is going to be absolutely amazing. But not just D'Lo Brown, we have amazing local talent such as Top Talent Wrestling, Heavy Metal, and Jesse Youngblood. And Top Talent Wrestling is apparently doing a tailgate party before the Real Canadian Wrestling shows in Calgary at the Royal Canadian Legion, and here in Edmonton, which I think is I want to check that out. If they have beer, I want to try it because I am a man who likes beer.
Fair enough. So yeah, hearing about your stories with how you're doing in the indie scene and stuff. Do you have any backstage stories that you can not only tell me but the viewers that are watching?
I mean, there's been so much time in the wrestling in the indie business and the wrestling business that there's so many stories. Some of them I legally cannot share. I will get in trouble as well as some other people. But I do remember one time, one of my first shows in Glengarry, and even then when I started indie business, I didn't just join, take a couple bumps, and then become a ref. I started doing camera work. And one of my very first shows that I ever did camera work for was with Jason the Terrible. Now, any Calgary Stampede wrestling fans out there know that Jason the Terrible was a bloody man. He loved barbed wire. He loved to bleed, and Jason the Terrible and Steven Styles versus Vince Austin and Slammer, I think, or it was C Block. I can't remember, but there was blood everywhere. And I started the wrestling business at a crisp 14 years old. So little Dougie with a camera has to dodge the blood from all the floor, which was an excellent time. And as well as Glengarry, there was another time where, in the ring, reffing, doing my job, I look over and I hear a bunch of people go, oh, like gasp, like someone fell. And nothing happened in the ring, so I'm wondering what the hell happened. Here a lady who was very inebriated fell headfirst off of the stage. At Glengarry, there's a little stage in the back. She fell headfirst off the stage, and you heard just this thump and a cry. And it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. That's basically all the stories that I can legally share. Sorry, Rob, but
That's
got to keep the innocent, you know?
That's true. Fair enough. So yeah. What's in the future of Ashes the God? Or
Well,
Francis?
Ashes is not only a UBW thing, but I am happy to announce right now, Rob, that Ashes will be a global thing. Ashes is a form of destruction. It's a form of aftermath from destruction. You have to burn something in order to create ashes. And I have burnt myself so long, I have burnt this brain so long, Rob, that it's finally time to take those ashes and create something. So I am happy to announce right now that within this year or next year, within the next 3 years, you can expect a full-titled EP demo named Ear Abuse from Ashes Entertainment. Not only is this going to be a wrestling thing, this is going to be a global thing. I love entertaining, and entertaining is what I do best. So it's time to finally grab my balls, pull them tight, and get the job done. And as Dougie for Real Canadian Wrestling, I will still continue to be a ref, non-biased whatsoever, straight down the middle, as an official should be. And that's me, Rob. That's what's gonna happen, Rob. I'm gonna change the world.
As Woken Matt Hardy would say, wonderful.
Yes, wonderful, Rob. Yes.
But no. Anyway, speaking of which, let's talk about WWE Backlash, shall we? You and I were messaging each other on Sunday. No word of a lie. And
You mean Trash Lash?
yes, sorry, Trash Lash. It was really crap, and there was only maybe one or two, if lucky, 3 good matches in the entire card out of the 9 matches that were.
It was just so slow. Everything felt so slow. Like, not just Randy Orton methodical slow, it just felt slow throughout the whole show.
Yeah. And
you want to run down the card?
Yeah, sure. We've got the pre-show match of Ruby Riott and Bayley.
I didn't see that one. You're going to have to talk all about that one. I didn't see it, but I love Ruby Riott. She's one of the best women talent out there that's not being used properly. If only she would get that nose fixed.
Yeah, I thought though that was a pretty good match regardless. You know, like I had predicted obviously Ruby Riott to win, and she did. So I mean that was pretty good. Like you mentioned, Randy Orton, he went up against Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship match.
Was that first on the card?
No. First on the card was Miz versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship.
Regardless, both matches were all right. I personally like, because of my my health issues in the past with wrestling, I suffer from, like neck problems, usual neck problems. And through the recent past months, I've dealt with an anxiety kick that just turned on randomly. And through it, I've kind of taken the idea of maybe Randy Orton's style of wrestling is better in the long run, but my God, is it slow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
I mean, Miz and Seth Rollins put on a fantastic match, to be quite
Absolutely.
like
For curtain jerking, it was absolutely amazing.
yes. However, Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton wasn't all that great, but either way, it's a win as a win for me in my predictions because I had predicted Jeff Hardy retaining. I had predicted Seth Rollins retaining. It just makes sense at the time.
Well, even looking at it, I don't think any of the championships changed.
No, and I mean, like, as much as it was predictable, like, the only match that I could have seen with the championship changing hands was Nakamura versus AJ Styles later on during the evening.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull up the rest of the card here, but just off the memory, I know Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship.
That was the second match on the card, and that was... If you want to look at parts of it, it was a good match. If you want to look at other parts of it, it was a gong show. I mean, the whole DDT on the stairs, that should have been like, Nia should have sold that to high hell.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
she just cranked her head on the stairs, and then she got up and performed, what was it, a Samoan Slam, and then that was the match?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. What a finish. Look who won the pony.
I, in all seriousness, wanted Alexa Bliss to retain, but I had predicted Nia was going to retain.
I definitely wanted Bliss to win, but Nia's just on such a run because of the whole bullying thing. And that's another thing. I just want to give a small round of applause to Alexa Bliss, even though she'll never see this, or, some people will never see this. She is one of the greatest female promo workers of the business. The whole a moment of bliss and the whole PSA thing is absolutely fantastic. I show people who don't even watch wrestling and they die laughing at that because it's pure comedy.
For sure. My girlfriend, not gonna lie, calls her Alexa bitch just to irritate me a little bit.
Well, I call Shinsuke Nakamura shit stain Nakamura, so
fair enough. But yeah, so Nia and Alexa, I was a little bit shocked about, to be quite honest.
I was shocked on how shitty it was.
Yeah. Another match we can talk about, since we just talked about the Raw Women's Championship, we'll talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship and Carmella winning clean.
It was a good finish, but if you think of why would her knee prevent her from kicking out? I mean, yeah, it was a really deep pin, but why wouldn't you go for a leg submission? Well, then again, you have to protect her to not tap her out. That would make her look weak. So yeah, all in all, it was a good finish. That the leg cells were tremendous in it from Charlotte, because Charlotte, it's another thing. Jimmy Cornette talks about this so much, and it's the psychology of the business. A babyface should sell like it actually hurts, because the fans will react that actually hurts because they're trying to get behind the babyface. A heel should sell cartoonish because it's that big payoff for the fans, right? And there I go killing the business a little bit. But the leg cells were phenomenal because it looked like Charlotte was in pain, and even then, her and her dad do the same thing. Where if they're in pain with their knee or their foot or something, they'll try and like take off their boot and they'll actually sell it like it hurts, which is perfect. That obviously Rick taught her how to do, and by God, thank you, Rick, for that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. In that 9-minute match, I had enough time to take a nap, to be quite honest, because I was just, for some reason, I was tired. I fell asleep during that match, but
I'm not gonna lie, I would have. It didn't even feel like a pay-per-view in a sense. It felt like what was it, the Raw Super Show or whatever, the Raw SmackDown Super Show where they just combined both shows,
yeah,
both nights. It just felt like one of those, and I get it. It was the whole point of the pay-per-view was to get over the fact that now every pay-per-view is going to be dual branded. But I mean, shit, you could have threw a surprise in there or something. Like it was a bland show altogether.
yeah, for sure. Like I said, though, in that 9 minutes, fell asleep, woke up, heard Carmelas' theme music somewhat while I was subconscious there.
And you went, oh, I didn't miss a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of, like I said, I predicted Carmella to win. She won. It was pretty predictable. Other people thought, the Iconics were going to come out and help out. Nope, I guess that didn't necessarily happen.
I didn't even think of that, but I mean, it totally works for the Iconics to be a separate thing. And even then, they're really good with their whole, even with the Renee thing. That's so heat. Like, that's heat that you should be able to get at a point of. I mean, the best example I've ever seen at getting people mad at you is Heavy Metal pile drove a 10 or I'll say 11-year-old child who was the promoter's son. So the kid obviously knew how to bump and stuff because he's around the business ever since he was born. But that pile drove took so much heat into Heavy Metal that people left and they haven't come back. And that's fine with us because it's a revolving door. I mean, some people will hate it and they'll walk out, and other people will love it and they'll walk in. And that's why top talent is one of the best things that have graced RCW, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's that heat that you have to generate. A Jimmy Cornette heat. That's why you have to carry a tennis racket or a cane or a 2x4 even, because just the heat. Like, fans wanted to legitimately stab wrestlers back in the day. And I mean, it's a safety concern. Obviously, if I was a wrestler and people were mad at me, I wouldn't want them trying to stab me. But it's that whole point of, holy crap, I can get you mad enough that where you want to stab me. Cool. That's the heat you need to get.
For sure. I agree with that. Moving on, though, Daniel Bryan had a match against Big Cass. Now, this was a David versus Goliath match again, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, Daniel Bryan made Big Cass tap out to the yes lock.
Which was needed. That was the needed finish. The whole Daniel Bryan evasiveness was beautiful in it. I have notes on the whole show. It was a very fluid match. Everything flowed into one another. And yeah, it was only a 7-minute match if you think about it. And then if you cut down entrances, it was probably only like a 5-minute match, it's beautiful. For a 5-minute match, you boys told the story.
Yeah. It's getting pretty close to 8, but still, anyways, no need to correct you because...
Well, even then, when you cut down entrances, you cut down like a minute or two for entrances. So then that's why I said almost an 8-minute match, and then you cut down entrances, a 5-minute match.
Moving on though, that match was good for Daniel for winning, obviously with his singles in-ring return.
Fight for your dreams. Hashtag. That's something I believe in, because me with neck pain and stuff. There is that luring thought of like, shit, what if I can't wrestle as long as I wanted? What if I can't go as far as the business as I wanted? And then I have to think again. Daniel Bryan went far, and then he lost it all, and now he's back. You got to fight for your dreams, everyone.
Exactly. That's a great message, and not gonna lie, I have a friend down here in Ontario who he's in the indie scene right now, doing some work with his most recent work with MWO Millennials Wrestling Organization. Put on a great match, and even with his work in NWX, doing a fantastic job with that, and some great stories going on with that promotion here in Ontario.
You have to fight for your dreams.
Exactly.
A fellow friend in the wrestling business, Shreds. He's in Winnipeg and Toronto, I think, and he battled cancer. And now he's a adult film actor and a wrestler. And I'm like, dude, if I could switch places, and he is ripped, he is jacked. Like, I need to ask him for workout advice because, damn, man's looking shredded.
True. Getting back to WWE Backlash, or Trash Slash as we call it.
Amen.
AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. I was pissed off. If you had seen my Facebook, I wrote on as a status, what the F was that? Like, I didn't, I'm like, WTF, what just happened?
People were definitely mad.
I did not like the ending to that match.
Okay, here's where we, again, Rob, stand on two different sides, because I loved the finish to that match. Not at a point where it's like, they took a storyline straight to the balls and just kept it with the balls, and it's not like a homoerotic thing, but it's the whole psychology of wrestling. Like, Shinsuke has been hitting AJ in the balls for weeks because it's that old school Ric Flair low blow. And I mean, how many times did Ric Flair, win a match with a low blow? I mean, if you think about it, there's been a couple times. And were people mad? Yeah. And to have a championship match on a pay-per-view and in a no competition due to a double-timed nut shot is like, it's irony, it's comedy, it's kind of good wrestling. And that match was the longest. I wrote down times too. That match went 21 minutes. That was the longest match. It was so New Japan-ly worked that it was an American crowd with New Japan wrestlers. That's the way I saw it. It was so slow. There were so many rest holds, but then again, it wasn't in a sense of like suplex, powerbomb, stuff like that. It was like, I'm going to kick you, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to throw you over here. And just with AJ, just that straight-legged, like, stomp, like, kick to the head, it's like an annoying kick. I mean, when Carmella, if you watch the Carmella and Charlotte match, there was a moment where Carmella was throwing, like, these childlike punches at Charlotte's back, and it kind of looks like Shinsuke's throwing, like, just childish kicks where it's like, I fucking hate you. I'm going to kick you in the head because I fucking hate you. And that's what it feels like to me. And that's why, like, that match, I have the most notes on. Those chair spots, there needs to be more of that. And I'm not talking about where AJ threw it, like, through the chair. That was also a good spot, but it backfired. But that, just more, I want to see suplexes on chairs, damn it. That's all I'll say. Suplexes on chairs.
We have a viewer watching right now who just sent me a message on Facebook giving the hashtag TrashLash. So clearly he thinks that it's funny that we call it that. So, but yeah. So not gonna lie, like we both said, it was pretty trash.
That match was the best match of the night, though.
Yeah,
I'll say that it revived the whole thing.
And then afterwards, people started leaving after that match was over. Obviously, because the last two matches we're going to talk about, one being a tag match and then the other one just being a normal singles match.
Before we get into that, here's another note of psychology. When Shinsuke, I don't remember the reversals or anything, but Shinsuke put AJ Styles up for like the rollback knee thing, where why did AJ stay there? Like, it wasn't even like a punch, a suplex to there. It was like AJ went for the phenomenal forearm. Shinsuke just grabbed him and put him on the turnbuckle. Why wouldn't AJ go like, oh, I'm here. Oh, now I'm on the turnbuckle. Oh, I'm going to get off. I mean, it was the psychology of that. Shinsuke totally should have punched him or kicked him before he rolled back, did the weird thing, and then kneed him. Yeah. But those are my opinions on the wrestling business. That's why I speak my madness.
That is why you take notes while watching matches like that.
This is the only show I took notes for, Rob, because I knew I was going to be on here, and I knew that I had a mission to sell. And that mission of selling, the mission that I'm trying to sell is the business needs to change. People need to start hating each other again. In a sense of, you're a babyface, I'm a heel. I will not ride in the car with you. Screw you. I don't care if we both live in Calgary. I'll go take another ride.
Kind of sounds like a certain situation. But anyways, no, moving on. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley defeating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It
was a comedy match. That's all I'll say. Comedy match at its finest. It was refreshing. It was good tag work with Sammy and Kevin, and even with Bobby and Braun. They did tag work too, and it was great tag work.
Yeah.
The heel work from Sammy was absolutely amazing. Just taking powders, just running out of the ring and stuff. Perfect heel stuff, like textbook.
The ending, though, I mean, Sami Zayn was supposed to be the legal man, but yet Kevin Owens got pinned. What do you think on that?
I'm not even worried about that. As a ref, tag matches are so fucking confusing. I've worked so many tag matches. I can agree that everybody works a tag match differently, and no matter what, unless you're an old school wrestler, and that you will go, okay, the spot is gonna be, I'll tag you in, you hit the hot comeback, hit the cutoff, get your shine, come back, hit your finish. I come from the corner, take out the other guy on the corner, you pin him 1, 2, 3. That's like the simplest tag spot of all. And unless you're a basic wrestler, you will not do that spot. It'll be like, you tag me in, we both hit the hot tag, we both hit the cutoff. There's just too many bodies in a tag match for one ref to keep a hold of. And it's so hard for referees when you actually think about it. Even when people were mad about the Brock, I was going to call him Brock Reigns, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar thing with the cage. I mean, yeah, there was like 3 refs there, but they were told one thing and they saw a different thing. I mean, I've screwed up spots in the past. Andrew Hawks gave me a suplex one time because I just didn't see what was going on because it was a tag match and there was so much going on. I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to hit 3, and I went 1, 2, 3, and then I went ring the bell, and I turned around straight into a gut kick and a suplex. And ever since then, I've been like, I really don't want to work tag matches.
Fair enough. We got one more match, though, to talk about from Trash Lash, and that was Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe. And this is where I wanted Samoa Joe to win, but,
Samoa Joe just said, fuck the announcers. That's all he said through the whole show, because, 5 minutes within, not even the match didn't even start, and he just destroys the table and just makes all the announcers move. So I'm on the Samoa Joe hashtag, fuck announcers. But it was so slow. Oh my God, there was so many rest holds, and it was like, you can call a Roman match now. If you're a wrestling fan or a wrestler, you can actually sit there and go, he's gonna cut him off, he's gonna reverse it, spear, and then you'll hit a spear, and then you'll go, he's gonna reverse it, Superman punch, called it. I mean, this Roman, the way they have built Roman has not worked. People are obviously not behind him as a babyface. Make him make him say the darndest shit. Not the suffering succotash. Just make him hate everyone. Make him punch everyone in the face. Punch. He honestly, to turn him heel properly, you would have to get Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose all in the ring together for a Shield reunion. And instead of like Seth turning on Roman and Dean, like they all have a great time, they all shake hands, they do the fist thing, and then they all take a step back, and Roman just loads up and just cocks Seth and just cocks Dean, and then just stands above them both, grabs a chair, hits them both, and just go full-blown heel. Screw you, screw you. None of you have liked me, so I'm not going to like you. Type of shit. That's my opinion, though.
Fair enough. So that was Trash Lash in a nutshell.
Also, I didn't see the ending to the Brock Roman because my network crashed. Now, I wasn't even mad. I wasn't even mad.
You mean Roman Samoa Joe?
Or, yeah, that one. Oops.
It's all right.
Yeah, through the whole show, what would you give it between, like, 1 out of 5 stars? What would you give it?
See, I was talking with my friend about this, and I was, like, saying, you know, if lucky, 2.5, maybe 2 stars.
I said, originally I said 3.5 stars, but then I went to 2 because I looked at the overall match, and there was 2 matches that went 20 minutes. And it was boring. Nothing incredible happened. Nothing memorable happened. It just felt like another Raw Super Show.
Okay.
Which is disappointing.
So, you've been very conservative over this podcast and really professional, and it's refreshing, but we're talking wrestling, and nothing is more controversial than what Malik said to you last week as he was on my podcast, and I know you were listening. I know you took some notes.
Absolutely.
You know, we have to know, how are you going to respond? Like, what do you have to say about Malik?
Well, you know, as you said before that, I have been conservative and I've been professional. And my professional side and my conservative side is saying, don't talk about him because that will only fuel the fire. But then my wrestling side is saying, you know, he said some stuff that he clearly knows nothing about. I know who I am, and I said at the beginning of the show that there was, I'll say, 2 men that created UBW, and he calls himself the creator, the founder, blah, blah, blah. But in order to create a wrestling company, a wrestling business, anything wrestling, you need to have a match. And I mean, some people have wrestled the Invisible Man, but I don't think Malik is good enough to do that. So he needed someone to wrestle with. And that other man was me. And on that day, the day we created UBW, 2 gods were created. One false and one fallen. See, if any of you have watched the UBW footage and have seen any of the seasons, you know that I've battled with things up here. And the battle up here has now taken a form of rage over me. And it's taken a piece of soul away from me. And I found myself in an epiphany, you would call it, that I am a god in this business. My mind is astronomical in this business. Because on that day, 2 gods were created, like I said. One false and one fallen. See, he's called himself Malik God, and he's come out with the robe and all that. And you can clearly see that he is a false god. But I am a god in this business, Rob. I know exactly who I am. A god in this business. Not only between... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Ah! Oh, shit! Get out of here! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!
Doug just brutally attacked.
Oh, Big Rob. Let me tell you, you want to talk about false gods? UBW. This Wednesday, I'm calling it out. Ashes, Malik God. Let's do it.